Well, obviously, one is rushing to get something done before heading off to work when I'm sitting there trying to get the camera to autofocus. Why is this bastard not autofocusing? What the hell's going on here? And I'm sitting here pushing buttons and pushing buttons. And yeah, like 5 minutes ago, I put a manual focus lens on the thing. So obviously, I'm not paying attention. So I probably should just put the drawing gear away and just get ready for work. But no, I'm going to get a little tiny, itty bitty little bit of drawing done. So there is a notion I have in regard to comic books and in the art world in general that's been percolating in my brain for some time, and I wanted to kind of just kind of hint at it here. This tiny few moments before heading off to work. And that's the idea of fine art and high art. And really, I think comic books take precedent on the nature of fine art and high art far more than the general modern garbage that you see in the galleries today. And I'm not an art historian, so I'm not an authority on this. It's kind of generally just an opinion. Is that art has a greater tradition in great art through being a visual storytelling tradition. Similar to what you would find with cave paintings, obviously. The single most ancient form of visual art. Well, one of them. And then you have illuminated manuscripts. As the monks would sit down and, pardon the creaky old chair, as the monks would sit down and illustrate, as they were transcribing ancient manuscripts into book form, kind of archiving it, they would illustrate them with these lavish illustrations with all sorts of rare inks and with gold leaf. And this is, some time before the printing press, where manuscripts and books, they all had to be hand copied. And then they had the advent of the Renaissance. And considering the sub 10% literacy rate in Europe at the time, prior to the printing press, of course, you would have these churches hiring artists to illustrate Bible stories. Because the masses, they can't read. So how are you going to convert them and tell them the way of the word? But through lavish tapestries and paintings and murals and frescoes. So in some ways, some of the greatest pieces of Renaissance art, like the Sistine Chapel, you could possibly consider it the first great comic book. It's an illustrated story. And these days, comic books seem to have this stigma attached to them. It's childish. It's for children. But what was it that the Sistine Chapel was illustrating? Larger-than-life characters, figures out of the Bible. Historic figures. And what's a superhero? A superhero is just a modernized, popularized, mythic figure. Powers that are similar to a god's. Obviously, the archetypes are more democratized, so they're not beholden to religious doctrines, but they still hold true to some form of human universals that religion is founded upon. So, let's see, what time is it? Yeah. So it's just something I've been thinking on, is that you got these dopey, silly things that a 3-year-old with one eyeball popped out and a broken arm could easily compose in 15 minutes, hanging in the gallery, sold for millions of dollars. That can't be great art. It's a scam. It's a sham. What's worse is that more often than not, those big, huge dollar signs that come off these paintings at auction are all at the expense of an artist who has passed on. They don't get to see the benefit. Obviously, they have the well, past tense. They had the aura of a great artist, that he was esteemed by his peers as something great and wonderful and magnificent and all that, and sliced bread. But a Cy Twombly painting, did he get to see the $70 million that it sold for? Or 40 million? Or 30 million? I doubt it. And if he did that make him a better artist than the hack that he is, or was, past tense, if he's dead? If not, is. Future tense, present tense, whatever. So comic books, if that's so, along this logic that comic books hold fast to the tradition of great art, then that would give comic books a massive, huge responsibility to not be cheap, lazy, boring. I saw something on Twitter about an X-Men comic where the characters are just sitting there dicking around on their cell phones. Who wants to see that? Do you think that Odysseus, on his travels, that Homer would have written him down picking his nose or going to the bathroom? So why would we have superheroes dicking around on their cell phone? It's such an everyday thing. Why don't they portray X-Men characters like the Wolverine taking a crap? Why not? I mean, that's what everyone else does. And this is the whole point of what I do here. I'm not out to sit there and blabber on about how things suck. My point is to make good things, not complain about things that are already done. I have no control over what production companies do or create, or what other people under the employment of these companies make or create. And I'm not going to pretend that I have any control over that. So I don't see the point in belaboring who sucks and who doesn't. It's a waste of time and a waste of energy. And time is so short. If anything in this world today, with a post-pandemic and all the upheavals in the world today, then why would we spend so much time over piddly little details? We should endure to take advantage of every single moment we have on earth. So, anyway. Toot toot goes the train, rolling through town. Is it red or is it brown? But it's powered by diesel and runs in a line from time to time. That doesn't rhyme at all. Anyway. Have a good night.